Welcome, everyone. I'm here today with Mark McNally. Today, we're going to talk about how AI is transforming organizations and how that can affect leadership changes. Mark, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, glad to. Jeremy, you and I are in the trenches every day with technology. We probably see more than most, but I think even the average manager and average leader is inundated with different breakthroughs and technologies, or they hear something from their team, or they see something on a podcast or somewhere about this new tool that's going to revolutionize how they do X. And I think we're really knocking on the door of a really interesting time to be a leader in terms of how we think about how we build organizations, how we recruit people, what we expect people to do. I mean, there's technologies coming out right now around content creation that you used to have to hire a team of 3 or 4 or 5, and AI is doing it at the click of a button, right? Same thing in marketing. The amount of energy and time it would have to go into to say, let's break down a target audience. Let's figure out the best channels to reach out to them. Let's do some creative to place there. Let's do a budget, and let's do an ROI worksheet on, whether or not that's a profitable acquisition of a customer. In my experience, that used to be a team of, 3 or 4 or 5 people. At a big company, it's probably 3 or 400, right? That stuff's going to AI really quick. And I don't think, one of the theses of the studio has been people don't understand how fast technology is about to move. We had that thesis before GPT came out. I think GPT has made people start to open their minds to, oh my God, this stuff's moving fast. And I think it's just scratching the surface, to be honest, because I think this ripple effect of the AI breakthroughs we're seeing really are just going to be empowering technologies for the next wave of things that are going to start to come out. And really specifically being able to say, wow, I used to have to hire 3 people to do that, and now I just need this one tool. Or maybe I need to hire a person to manage that tool, but instead of 500 people or 5 people, I just need a half a person. And I think it's going to be really, I can't think of a similar paradigm that I've lived through. I mean, the internet was interesting. I've been through that from the very beginning, but it was slow enough that it gave people time to retire, and it gave people people to grow up in the organization. The internet, really took 10, 15 years to disrupt organizations top to bottom. I think AI is going to give people like a year, 6 months. And so it's hard to figure out, where do you make your priorities in terms of hiring? What does your organization look like? How do you lead as a leader? Sometimes you're no longer asking people to just be great. Bring all your experience to the table and be great. Maybe AI is better at some of that, especially if you're consolidating numbers or doing research or things like that. It's like non-debatable that technology is going to be better at that than a human, right? And so having to steer yourself into, as a leader, I'll use a leader word, management's different, but as a leader, trying to get the best out of people, that thing that AI won't do well for the next 5 years. I don't know where it's going to be in 10, but certain things it won't do. And getting people to that point where you make sure they're optimizing for their unique skill, why they're there, drawing a salary, why they're a key part of the team. I think this concept is really interesting. Some people have heard of it. Sam Altman called it the one person unicorn, but this idea that there will be $1 billion company created, I think he said the next 5 years, that is a one-person $1 billion company. And what he meant by that is that AI is going to allow him to have, or her, to have a world-class finance team and follow-up team and marketing team and technology and product, because one person will be able to administer all those tools and still build something meaningful. So I still think we're a ways out from that. But if you use that as one end of the spectrum and challenge, well, it's easy to dismiss it. It's not 20 years out. It's like coming in the next few years.
Yep.
So what is that going to mean to how you recruit, how you motivate, how you compensate, how you build your organizations? And I think I'm in the thick of it, and my mind is spinning. I don't have the damn answer. So I can only imagine what corporations and other people are going to be dealing with in the coming years as this becomes more and more reality.
Yeah, I love it. And I think it's really, really impactful. A lot of people are talking about AI vaguely, and they don't really understand the nuances of it. We are in a phase where, when cars just came out, the people that adopted cars first, they're going to get a massive advantage before everything, right? So there's two different phases with AI, just like with cars. The first adopters for cars, the first adopters for AI are going to get a massive leap just by the relative difference. Then when everybody has cars, you're going to have a little bit more normalization of, like, guess what? Everybody can drive from this side of the East Coast to that side of the West Coast in the same amount of time, right? So then you're going to have a normalization on a little bit of a level with AI, like with cars, but you're also going to have nuances. Who actually knows to drive a truck with these kinds of goods from this kind of the country to this kind of the country, right? The nuances that actually says my load in this truck is way more profitable than yours. When we adopt AI and say we have a sales or marketing person AI, what is the nuance of that? Can they do the outbound prospecting to what ICP actually is going to receive that kind of an AI message that's maybe personalized a little bit? Where can you actually get the data for the personalization of that ICP in a way that makes it feel real, that gets it opened? And how is, like, when I go and look at somebody's LinkedIn profile and maybe I scan their 3 or 4 posts, how is like an AI going to be able to do that? Is LinkedIn or some other system going to block an AI from reading? All of these nuances is how people are going to need to play in this AI world. And then there's the aspect of, aside from nuances and getting specific about, can I make this play in this way? How long can I make this play for? Can I make this play for 3 months? Can I make this play for 6 months? Because every company comes out to solve a problem or a desire. And at some point, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, you solve it. But now AI is going to come in and help solve these things faster. And there's going to be a lot more smaller gaps. So you might launch an AI or a company infused with AI, and you might actually have something in 3 months or 6 months where you make that money. Maybe you make $1 million, maybe you make 10 mil faster than ever before, and it closes and you launch the next thing, right? So we have to be able to look at nuances. We have to be able to look at the timing of these things. And we have to then realize, okay, so if a single person can go and build that $1 billion company, especially in the different phases that we talked about, pre-cars and during cars, whatever, other people are going to be able to do that. Then there's going to create competitive pressure. So when we talk about AGI, right, and people are concerned about AGI, what's actually going to happen is AGI is just like having another human on the planet. When you have a really, really smart human, guess what? There's another smart human that's competing. So when you have a really, really smart AGI, you have another AGI that's competing, and then you have 100 AGIs competing. And because of this competitive pressure between humans and between AGIs in the future and AIs now, you always have this like competitive pressure to where it's like you're not going to have a one win out all, right? So it's going to be a game of nuances and continue paying attention to every variable and every amount of timing.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's I think part of the answer when I posed the question, how are we going to evolve? I think we're going to have to get really, I don't think there's consensus. I mean, we all read the articles. I don't think there's really consensus because this has moved so fast. But what are we going to be able to do as humans that AI is not going to be able to do? Right. And I know it's going to be hard for a lot of people, but if you really look at a lot of people who have great paying jobs and live in nice homes and, live a lifestyle that most people in the world would envy, and you look at what is actually requiring cognitive ability versus what is assembly line, I think people will be pretty embarrassed. Like I know people who are really successful mortgage brokers. 99% of what they do is just, taking a widget from this side of the, assembly line and putting it on this side of the assembly line with a stamp, right? That's going to be automated. There's just no value whatsoever. But if you look at that process, what stands out? Relationships. A lot of times relationships, AI is not going to build relationships. In fact, it's going to be horrible at that, right? And so you actually have this curve back to humanity, which is like the answer to AI, is there going to be certain things we do inherently that technology is never going to be able to do, or not for a long time, right? And even then, it'll be faking relationships. It'll be following patterns of how relationships are built. But there's always those nuances to, body language and heartfelt, genuine, sharing of vulnerabilities and stuff like that only you and I can do, right? Humans can do. And so you're going to have people look back at what is it they do every day to earn their job, and they're going to have to optimizing for those things that can't be replaced by technology. But I'm sorry, if you're in any kind of widget, assembly line kind of world, and all of us have that in our jobs, that's going to go away. It's going to be too easy to automate, or even at the very least, someone was like, let me mirror what I did the last 2 days, and now the system takes over, right? It's just going to be too easy for that stuff to go away, and it's going to go away really fast. People are going to look back and go, how did we do that before? How is that actually a job that millions of people had? It's going to feel silly, but it's going to happen really quick.
Yeah. And I'll with our last little bit of seconds, I'll close up by saying too, we already have a precedent for this, right? We already have people playing football against each other, playing chess against each other. You're in a more human domain fun. Like, we're not necessarily going to put like bots against bots. Like, some people will do that. There are bots like competing against bots, even like fighting in an arena, whatever. But like, we actually want to see the human performance. That's why we have the Olympics, right? So we already have, and then we have like, go create like a fun party with friends and get creative there. Like, we're not necessarily going to want the AI to do that. And if they do that to some degree, we're still going to want to come up with the next level of creativity, So, and then there's going to be jobs within that. And we have an infinite upward creative potential and creative ability in the world. So there will never not be something for people to do. And money is just a medium of exchange. So whatever people think of as jobs, it's just going to shift what is actually a job, and there's still going to be infinite things for people to do, because at the end of the day, it's, can I solve your problem or desire? And that's an infinite level of problems and desires, and we're going to solve that, and it's just going to be in a lot of different ways. So just continually be in motion.
100%. It's an interesting topic. We'll have to keep tabs on it as it evolves.
Yeah. Thank you for chatting today, Mark.
Thanks, Jeremy.